Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling together insights from some of the sharpest minds in business, and we're going to use them to build a modern playbook for how companies can innovate, grow, and become truly resilient.
And everything we're about to talk about, it really starts with this one powerful idea from Amazon's founder. This is the engine that just never stops running, right? It's that constant human desire for something better, faster, and easier.
So that is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And to answer it, we're not just going to list a bunch of ideas. No, we are going to build a framework together, piece by piece, right here in this explainer.
All right, so here's our roadmap for the next few minutes. We're going to start with our guiding principle, the customer. Then we'll construct the foundational operating system. After that, we'll add the force multiplier, automation. We'll see it all in action with a great case study, and then we'll finish up with the one challenge that really underpins everything else.
Okay, let's dive right into this first section. This is all about having a relentless, almost obsessive focus on the customer. And look, this isn't just some fluffy philosophy. It's a very concrete method for innovation.
So, this is the core mechanism that Amazon uses. Instead of starting with some cool piece of technology and then trying to find a problem for it, they start with a customer problem and invent their way to a solution. Just think about Amazon Go. That entire business was born from a super simple question. Can we get rid of the checkout line?
And here is the tactical genius of the working backwards method. Before a single line of code gets written, teams have to create these three documents. First, the press release that forces them to explain the customer benefit in plain English. Then, the FAQs that makes them think through and solve all the hard questions up front. And finally, the visuals. They make the entire experience tangible. It is such a powerful process for making sure you're building the right thing from day one.
Okay, so we've got our North Star, the customer. But how do we make that focus a repeatable, scalable part of the business? Well, that's the pivot we're making right now, from just having good intentions to putting real action behind them.
Jeff Bezos once said that when you find a problem that keeps happening over and over, just asking teams to try harder is basically a recipe for failure. People already have good intentions. What they really need is a system.
And this slide just shows the difference perfectly. Good intentions are great, but they're fleeting. They depend on heroic individual efforts. A mechanism, on the other hand, well, it's like a machine you build inside your business. It's a complete, repeatable process that turns that good intention into a consistent, reliable output, whether you're standing there watching it or not.
So, how do you actually build one of these mechanisms? Well, you can follow a really practical cycle like this one. First, you map out the workflow. Then, you capture how it's actually done today. You document it clearly. Then, and this part is key, you have a fresh pair of eyes test it. Finally, you take their feedback to improve and simplify. It's a continuous loop that just keeps getting better.
And through that entire system building process, you have to be relentlessly asking these 5 deceptively simple questions at every single step. What needs to happen? Why are we even doing it? When does it occur? Who is responsible? And how is it done? Answering these questions rigorously is how you eliminate all the ambiguity. It's how you make sure everyone is crystal clear on their role and the purpose of their work. This, right here, is the bedrock of a strong operating system.
Okay, let's move to our next section and see how all this connects to technology. Because once you have a clear, well-defined operating system, you can absolutely pour fuel on the fire with automation.
This image from McKinsey is the perfect metaphor. You can't just drop technology into a chaotic process and expect order to magically emerge. It doesn't work that way. Automation is a powerful tool for scaling and accelerating an already ordered process. You have to create the order first.
And as this data shows, this isn't some fringe idea. The adoption of automation is accelerating, big time. Companies are using it more and more, not just to cut costs, but to build resilience and create the capacity they actually need to grow.
And this brings us to a really crucial insight from Bain & Company. The goal isn't just to find a few random tasks to automate here and there. The real transformation, the game changer, happens when you fundamentally reinvent your core processes with automation built in from the ground up.
Okay, let's make all this tangible. How do these principles, customer focus, a clear operating system, and intelligent amplification, how do they look in a real company that has navigated massive change? Let's take a look at Airbnb.
Now, look closely at point 3 on this timeline. After they established their core business and added experiences, Airbnb kind of hit a wall.
They realized their foundation was only built for one thing, so they spent years rebuilding their entire technical architecture, their core operating system, so it could support many different businesses.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. CEO Brian Chesky says it right here. This wasn't some minor tweak. It was a fundamental rebuild. That foundational work, that creation of a new, scalable operating system was the essential first step for their future growth into services, hotels, and whatever comes next. Okay, this brings us to our final, and I really think most profound section. Because all of these pieces, customer obsession, systems thinking, and automation, they all point to one core challenge for modern businesses.
And that leads to this powerful idea from Boston Consulting Group, enterprise as code. It's really the logical conclusion of everything we've just discussed. The idea is that the next great competitive advantage won't come from just having the best people or the best strategy. It's going to come from making your business operations so clear, so well-defined, that they are literally legible to machines.
And this quote just brings it all home. AI, automation, all this incredible technology we have, it's not a magic wand you can just wave over a chaotic business. It's an amplifier. And it can only amplify the clarity you've already created. The fastest-moving companies are the ones who are absolute masters of definition. And so, that leaves us with this final, provocative question. It suggests that the biggest hurdle we face isn't adopting the next piece of technology. No, the real work, the foundational challenge, is achieving that deep organizational clarity that makes technology truly powerful in the first place.